So, yesterday there was a bit of a discourse around the table with the Senate President being there talking about the state of the electricity sector. The NERC was there. Look at the TCN with the new head, with all the wranglings between the Transmission Company of Nigeria and the federal government, the new acting chairman of the industry regulator. There are a lot of issues there, a bit messy as it were right now. So don't be surprised you don't have stable electricity. The industry itself, stakeholder, is not at ease. Dolapo Oni is the head of energy research at Ecobank Group and is joining us from downtown Lagos, not so far from where Amaka Ajebu also has their office. I know where everybody is, don't I, Dolapo? I know where all of you are. Good morning. It's good to see you on the program.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Dolapo, will it be surprising that an unstable sector will provide stable electricity?
Definitely not. If the sector is not stable, it can't help. It can't provide any stable power.
I mean, it's a very interesting time. So I'm sure you spent some of the time yesterday listening to the Senate President, the acting chair of the NERC, the TCN, the trying to unravel and unbundle and try to straighten matters, as it were. What did you make of those, everything that went on social media, everywhere, everybody was on top of that?
Okay, yes. So I've followed up on a bit of a brief also too that has been released by the NERC as well about the meeting, because I think the real concern that the Senate had in the meeting yesterday was the fact that the privatization has not really been successful. It hasn't really achieved the purpose for which it was carried out. And they pointed out to primarily the disco segment, where they feel operators at the disco segment have not kept to the agreements that were made back in 2013. Agreements such as posting their letters of credit, escrowing their accounts so that funds can be going into the escrow accounts, and all parties have access to the funds and all that. Several other things as well. And they also pointed out to the fact that most of the discos as well have been sanctioned. About 9 of them were sanctioned recently, also too for not keeping up to some agreements or conditions in the market. So they pointed out to the fact that there is a lot of stuff that is not going well with the disco segment and the power sector as a whole. And there's a need for them to revisit the whole program.
Why is it that, like in the oil sector, the downstream guys seem to be the weeping boy all the time, isn't it? If we're talking about oil in Nigeria, it's about the gas stations, the retailers, the importers, the guys in the value chain down the line, where we all connect to the 160, where they connect, as it were, 260 million Nigerians.
Yeah, that's always what the problem is. You see, because the problems at that level are significant. That's where you have the larger part of the infrastructure. I'm talking about distribution infrastructure now. A lot of that infrastructure is weak, so there are technical losses. You also have collection problems. You have major collection problems. I'm talking about government ministries, department agencies who are owing somewhere in the region of about 75 billion naira. You also have Nigerians, who are not paying for power. Just some weeks back, there was a community in Port Harcourt that went to shut down a transmission substation. And the reason why, because they haven't given them light. And the reason why they were not given light was because the disco actually shut them down because they had not paid their bills for a certain number of years. But they claim that they have an agreement with Obasanjo's government that they won't pay for power for 20 years. And that doesn't expire until 2026 or something like that. So you have all kinds of scenarios that the discos are facing like that, which is hampering their operations.
Dolapo, I got a bit of a migraine. It's getting started, really. Okay, let's just end this conversation. Let's leave it there, because we're going to continue. We're going to get until tomorrow, the day after, and the day after, and the day after. So don't let us spend all our energies today on that. Thank you very much, Head of Energy Research at Ecobank Group, Dolapo Oni.